Richard, let me ask you real fast because this is, as you said, and I'm going to summarize here, but you really hit your stride about year 17. Okay, so for anyone listening right now, I would love, because you know as well as I do, there's folks out there that are 4 years in that are
Sure.
struggling with it. There's folks
Sure.
out there that are 20 years in. What, and I think they have a problem not only flipping the switch, but how do you go about, so you had whatever, 10, 15 years in the business, and all of a sudden you switched at roughly that. How did you go about that? Like what, so number one, what actually caused you to flip the switch? And number two,
Sure.
what advice would you give someone that is looking to, hey, this is not okay anymore. I want my agency to be better. I want more out of my life. I want more out of my team. Not more, but I want to help them be more. What advice would you give?
That's super easy. Again, what they need to realize, and it's just common sense. I know it feels like it's common sense, but it's just not. Um, what they need to realize is the sooner that you stop being an agent and the sooner you start to become an agency manager, the better off you'll be. Okay. And wherever it is that you realize that, wherever that is in your career that you decide to make that commitment, you have to begin to share and you have to begin to let people in. And you don't need to, as an agent, here's what agents do. And I think it's a big mistake. They say, well, I'm going to hire a commercial specialist, or I'm thinking about hiring a life specialist. And the truth is, what they're trying to say is, I'm going to hire someone to do the things I don't want to do. And I always tell them that's a recipe for disaster. I'd rather you say, I've done everything. I'm not going to ask you to do anything I haven't done. I may ask you to do something I'm not good at, but I'm never going to ask you to do something I haven't done. You have to lead by example in that way. And then I think the sooner the agent realizes your excuse is always going to be, I can't afford to add someone. I can't afford in this environment to have somebody. I'm losing policies. I can't afford to pay additional payroll. I can't afford to stop and train someone. I can't afford to stop and onboard someone. You can't afford not to, because the attrition is going to catch up with you. The amount that you can do by yourself and do it all is limited. The only way that you're going to take that next step is by surrounding yourself with givers, right? And when I say this, I know that sometimes this finds someone in California or in a higher income state than Texas. But I'll tell you this, I always say this, if California is listening, then if I have 10 employees, your goal should be 5. If the cost of living is higher in California, I get it. But then why don't you have 5? Or why don't you have 3? Well, the truth is because they're afraid. And the truth is because they're trying to keep costs down in an effort to take more home. Let me teach you that lesson, and I'm sure you know it, but I'm going to teach it to your listeners. I was on a webinar similar to this. I had already won Life Agent of the Year in 2020, and I had a special guest on with me named Sam Schlehuber. He's a friend of mine, a fantastic farmer's agent. Sam's on it with me, and he says, I said, Sam, we have a lot of people on this call that are less than 3 years of being an agent. They have a lot of questions for you. One of the primary questions is, who should they hire first? A CSR, a producer, a marketer? He said, unequivocally, a CSR. Someone who can take the service work off your back and free you up to sell, because sell is what you were hired to do. Great. Sam, people want to know, what should payroll be as a percentage of revenue? And at the time, I was super proud of myself because I had hovered payroll as a percentage of my revenue right around 23% most of my career, 24%. I was super proud of myself because it was up to around 35%. And so when I asked him that question, I thought he was going to say 35%, and I was going to be super, super proud of my number. And Sam says, well, I've observed the great ones. The great ones push payroll up, pull payroll up to 50% of revenue with the right personnel in an effort to take more home. And I said, stop. I said, stop. Wait a minute. Did I hear you right? They pull payroll up. He said they pull payroll up with the right personnel. I said, I've spent my career pushing payroll down with the wrong personnel in an effort to take more home. He said it was actually working in an opposite way. If you would have been bringing it up with the right people, you would be making more money today. Yep. We now, payroll right now is at 42% of gross revenue. We're on track to push it up to 50% in an effort to take more home, right? Yep. It's a whole different way of thinking. If agents can embrace that and stop having to micromanage things and stop having to be the P&C writers and be more of an agency manager and hire producers and staff that do the personal line side of things, then I think the better off they'll be. The unique thing about my agency, and we have extreme success when it comes to auto insurance and life insurance, but the life insurance part of it is that it freed me from the personal line side of it to be able to do life insurance, financial products, large claims, be the face of the agency, and manage the agency. And I was actually able to take that off of Susan's back because the truth is I was forcing that on her. You be the disciplinarian. You write that person up. You talk to him about his vacation time. You talk to him about his personal time off, why he was late. Oh, by the way, train him too. By the way, compensate him too. By the way, make sure that your production doesn't suffer while you're doing that. Keep up your sales. And by the way, while you're at it, if you could write a little bit of life, that'd be good too. That's what most agents do. And it's a mistake. So, but here's what I think. I think the sooner that we get to agents, and we're doing it across this nation, especially farmers agents, the sooner we get to farmers agents and change their mindset, the better off we'll all be. We're already seeing extreme success with agents that are not taking 17 years to figure it out. Carlos Cruz out of San Antonio, Ivan Ruiz out of El Paso, Nadia Cortez out of Austin, Texas. Let's go north, and Paul Harrington out of Oklahoma, and we could go on and on, Abel Duran out of California, Juan Zaragoza out of California, Carmen Sears out of Ohio. Agents that have not been agents for more than 10 years and showing extreme glimpses of success. Some of them already achieving President's Council and some of those upper achievement clubs with farmers. But more than that, showing very sound, solid growth in premium and policies. And so this, my thought of the sooner we get to you, the more we share this with you, the better off we all are. I have a philosophy, and I say it over and over again, and I'm going to say it on this call. I believe that when you give of yourself without expecting anything in return, that the whole is better for it. Mm-hmm. And I stick with that. And so you can ask me till I'm blue why I don't charge and why I don't take something home for doing this, because I get it in other ways. Mm-hmm. It's paid to me tenfold in many other ways, and I don't have to worry about that. It's paid to me in ways that I can't even fathom. So I just look at it like that.
No.
And that's true servant leadership. So we love that you're even bringing that up.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I mean, what you're hitting on, and it's our belief as well, the more you invest into the people of your business, the more people you're going to help, the more money you're going to make.
You take care of your people, and your people take care of your customers. That's how it works. So I have a question, because you've talked a lot about delegation, and is there something that you don't delegate? Is there something that you're like, absolutely not, this is my thing?
Oh yeah, that's easy. There's a lot that I don't delegate.
Richard, I love it. Everything's easy, man. I love this.
Yeah, if you're listening, you're hearing the mindset of, yep, that's easy. Yep, that's easy.
I am still a control freak. Don't let me lie to you and make you feel like I don't control things. I have my nose in a lot of things. The building is about 5,000 square feet. It's 4 years old. It is my baby. It is our chapel. Everything that went into it was a collaboration of everybody that's here. We maintain it. I maintain them. I maintain their cars. I maintain them futures. We talk about dreams. Susan develops them on an individual basis. In December, she will have an individual meeting with them, a financial meeting where we talk about their goals and their dreams for 2023, what they're looking at their income becoming, what kind of bonuses they'd like to track. So she'll have a closed door conversation with each one of them by themselves, where you're either allowed to bring all your financial information if you want, or maybe you don't. But either way, normally they come out of those conversations, and Susan, this is what it'll sound like. And I'm not blowing smoke. Susan will come up to me and go, "Hey, I talked to Michael. Michael's been with us 2 years. He wants to buy a rental property. He has some credit card debt that he shouldn't have gotten into. We're going to get him out of it. I need to know if we can borrow $3,000 for about 6 months. We'll take care of paying you back. We don't need any questions as to what the path is. We know the path. We know the game plan. And we just want to know if we could ask you for that." And I tell her, "Susan, his development is all I care about. The $6,000, the $3,000, it's yours. Just make sure it gets back in the account. We are about developing him, growing him, nurturing him. I like hearing that he wants to buy a rental property. I like hearing that he's investing his money. I like hearing that he's not going to be in debt and he's going to start earning an interest. I like hearing that. And so I'm all in." And so we have those conversations. I control the life insurance side of what we do, and I do that for a reason. And you're going to go, "Well, what do you mean?" Well, and this, I hope I'm not real long on this. I'll try to be as brief as I can. But earlier, Michael said, "Hey, when did this start?" And I said, in 2012, I'd been an agent 17 years. I've been, and I don't want to mislead anybody, I'd been Rookie of the Year, and I'd been Auto Agent of the Year in the district several times. So that goes without saying. But the sentiment was always the same. If Richard would just write a little bit of life, we might be able to get him to President's Council. If he'd just write a little bit of life premium, we might be able to get him to championship. And when they would walk out the door, I would tell Susan, "I don't need awards. I'm making plenty of money selling auto and home. I don't need that headache of life insurance," right? And it was all something I would tell myself to make myself feel better. And the truth was, I did need that, and I did want to be rewarded, and I did want to be acknowledged, and it was missing from my, my resume. And in 2012, a report came out in April 2012 giving us the production for 2011, my 17th year of being in business, and it was showing the top producers in life insurance in our division, which is it's a 5-county area, so our division maybe amounts to about 10 districts. So in our division, Sam was on that list, my friend that's in my district, and I took it like the ass that I was, and I printed it, and I went to Susan's desk that morning, and I put it on Susan's desk, and I said, "Hey, do you recognize anybody on that list?" And she says, "Yeah, I recognize Sam's name on that list." I said, "Susan, do you realize Sam is on that list with 53 issued and paid?" I said, "We issued 23 in 2011 without any effort. Do you realize if we would have put any effort, we'd probably be on that list?" And Susan said to me the thing that changed everything forever. She said, "Richard, the only reason we're not on that list is because of you."
Ooh.
And I went back to my desk with my tail between my legs, and I gathered myself, and I came back to her after about 15 minutes, and I said, "Susan, I don't know if you had a bad drive-in. I don't know if you had a bad morning, but I just want you to know that what you said hurt my feelings." And she goes, "Oh, by all means, it wasn't to hurt your feelings." She said, "Sit down." And you got to remember, this is in a time when we were still running the agency my way, the wrong way. Okay. She said, "Sit down." She said, "Richard, we have 3 employees, myself and you. You're the only one with a life license. You're the only one with a Series 6 and 63 license. You're the only one that knows the product. We run into people all day long that need life insurance. She said, we are busy selling auto and home because that makes you the most money. She goes, I'm sure when you're ready to sell life, we will. And I walked out, and that night I took my laptop home, and I fell asleep with my laptop on my chest, and I set it down next to the bed. And I came back the next day, and I said, Susan, do you know that the underwriting guidelines are in there? Do you know that they know when someone issues 30 lives, 50 lives, 100 lives? Do you know that there's stuff in Chinese and in Spanish? And Susan said, it sounds like somebody's done their homework. And I said, just in my mind, I was having a conversation with myself, just shut your mouth because you don't have a plan. And I thought about it for a good week where I was thinking to myself, if you're the what's standing in the way, what is standing in the way? What is really standing in the way? And I thought to myself, what's really standing in the way is I seem to have good intentions on selling life. It's just something I put on the back burner of the stove. And it's that part of the stove that we never get to. You eat your entree right here on the front burner and you never quite get to the goods on the back burner, right? That part of the day that we never get to. And so I came back to Susan and I said, I have an idea. This was 2012, April of 2012. I said, I promised to put it on the front burner. I promised to make it a priority since you know so many people that need life insurance. See, that part of it was me being skeptical that she wasn't telling me the truth. And I said, if you bring it to me at least one or two a day, I promise to put it on the front part of my day. That Monday, that was a Friday. On a Monday, Susan came in and put 2 ECMS printouts. That's our database printouts. She put them on my desk over my keyboard. And I remember I had coffee. I just sat down. And she said, this is Michael. He and his wife have talked to me about life insurance a couple of times. She's worried sick about what happens to her if something happens to him. This is Natalie over here. She's a single mother, 8-year-old daughter. She's mentioned life to me a few times. This is her cell phone number. And then Susan did the best thing she could have done. She walked out of my office. I say that now because I'm convinced that if she wouldn't have walked out of my office, I would have convinced her to make the calls. Yep. I then looked at those sheets thinking, just don't be a schmuck and dial the phone. Just dial the phone. And I thought, I used to leave this part out, but then there were so many agents that would go, the part about the phone call is the part I needed the most. I said, okay, that was the easy part. It would sound like this, okay? I would say, hi, Natalie, this is Richard Salinas, your insurance agent with Farmers. Did I catch you at a bad time? I'd say, okay. Listen, Susan brought it to my attention that you've mentioned life insurance a couple of times. And I have to be honest with you. We've had your auto for 3 years. We've had your home for a couple of years. And honestly, I've been busy doing what makes me the most money. But I promise not to do that anymore. I can show you where it doesn't have to be expensive. I can show you where it doesn't have to be painful. Do you mind if I put some things together and show you a couple of things that would help you with the life insurance? And I started in March, April of 2012. And there were parts of 2012 that I don't remember. We ended 2012, December 31st. We wrote 205 lives, and we issued and paid 165. 2 people, her and me. The others, we learned, were dead weight, takers. On January 15th, I had a planning session with my district manager where I let him know I have 4 employees and we're letting 2 go. He said, are you kidding me? You came off that good of a year and you're letting 2 go? I said, well, it showed us that we carried their weight.
Yep.
We're going to change the way we do things. And we did. And that was the end of the takers. And it was givers after that, from that point forward. Now, fast forward. We ended the year last year with 8 employees. We have 10 now. We hired 2 in February of this year. They're still with us. And we ended 2021. And that group of 8 set 3 records. Okay. The first was they issued and paid 100 lives sooner than any Farmers agent had ever done it. May 19, 2021. The second, They set out to write more applications than any agent had ever written in Farmers history. They wrote 397 in 365 days. On October 1st of that same year, they came to me and said, what if we wanted to get the issued and paid record? I said, the record is 327, and you put yourself behind the 8 ball. You have 90 days to issue and pay 89 lives, and you've never done that before. I'm just going to let you know that up front. We've never done that since 2012. And they set out to do it, and they set their third record. They issued and paid 334 lives in 365 days.
My goodness.
And so I'm done talking about what they're capable of doing. I'm done putting limits on what they can do. If they want to tell you what they think they can do, that's up to them. For me, sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. And so do I control that? The shocking part for you is no one in the office quotes life. No one in my office proposes life. No one in my office inputs life. No one in my office that works for me babysits it, issues it, or gets charged back if it doesn't issue. My team speaks the need and the importance of life, shows you what they have on themselves, has a basic term versus permanent life conversation with you, comes to me to develop a proposal. I then send them back with an arsenal of proposals. They have a conversation with you. They gather some basic information, and they bring it to me, and I input it. They're paid $100 for the referral. They're paid 30% of my life bonus, and they get back to the personal lines stuff that they want to be doing. And that all came about, not because of me. It came about because after year 1 and year 2 of 2012, 2013, Susan came to me and said, Richard, I know you're enjoying this limelight, and I know you really like all the policies, but what are you going to do when I run out of leads? And I was like, Susan, I don't know, but I don't like you talking like that. And she goes, no, I'm serious. You got to think about it. And I would go, Susan, I don't know what I'm going to do when we run out of leads. And the truth is we were never going to run out of leads. That's the truth. But we didn't know it. And she came to me once, and I remember saying, I guess I'll have to buy leads. And she said to me, are they expensive? And I said, good life leads? I bet they're real expensive. And she went back to her office and came back after about 15 minutes. And she said, hey, can I talk to you? I said, yeah. She said, we're surrounded by people that need money. We're surrounded by people that are struggling. Why pay a stranger for a lead? Why not pay us? I said, that'll only work if you continue to bring me the lead. And that's how that was born. And that's how they've been doing it. This team now has 11 straight years of issuing and paying over 100 lives. They're 11 straight years of being Century Award winners. They are 6-time MDRT and 2-time Life Agent of the Year. And that's the part that I control. I do my best to make sure you don't input life. I don't want you to. I don't want you to begin resenting it. I don't want it to begin taking up your day. I don't want it to take you away from the personal line stuff that you want to do. The personal line stuff is really what your bread and butter. I want it to continue to be your bread and butter. I just want you to interject my life conversation into your day-to-day processes. And then I want you to listen to triggers. I want you to pivot to a life conversation. I want you to have a conversation about what you have on yourself. I want you to speak a basic term versus permanent conversation, and then begin to gather some data, and then bring that lead to me.
We getting buzzed on the buzz today, Richard. This is good.
So good.
You're dropping all kinds of nuggets. This is, man, this is so good. So, Richard, I have to ask, because this is amazing. If somebody had some more questions for you, maybe they wanted to follow you on social media, what's the best way for them to reach out to you? And we'll put this in the show notes as well, but I'd love for you to.
I say this all the time, and I'll read you a text in a minute that somebody sent me yesterday. You should hear this because I think it bodes well for what you're asking me right now. I got this on my way home from an agent You have to realize that I spoke at the Western Agents Conference, the Oklahoma Agents Conference, the Arkansas Conference, the North Texas Conference, Pennsylvania East and Pennsylvania West. So I've been busy, okay, to say the least. This guy sums it up, okay, and I want to share it with you. Check this out. Hi, Richard. Don Zaraski from Farmers in Washington. I'm sitting here with a corporate suit, reminiscing about the Western Agents Conference that I saw you at. She said, "Did you get Richard's cell phone number?" I said, "Yes." I wrote it down. Then she said, "He gave it out because the vast majority of you won't use it, quote unquote." So I said, "Well, let's use it right now." Anyway, I wanted to let you know you were very inspiring, and I put some of your teachings into practice already at my agency. I hope I have the opportunity to get you involved in a big life case policy soon. Have a wonderful evening, sir. I wanted you to know this. Dawn. It's pretty good, right? So I'll say this, and I said this in front of Dawn. My cell phone number is 469-939-8275. And my email address is rsalinas, the number 2, the @, and then farmersagent, all one word, .com. I say this, and this is what Dawn was quoting. I say that to say, most people in the audience will say, "I can't believe this guy just gave out his cell phone number." I'll say this, I'm not afraid of y'all because very few of you use it. Those that do use it, though, are making a big difference. And the company is noticing it. The executives are noticing it. And the word is spreading like wildfire. And I'll share with you, if you don't believe that, if you say, "Well, I'm a cynic, I don't believe that." I got a phone call from one of the life company's executives at the end of 2021. And he said, "Richard, we need to know something. Century Award winners for farmers average 17 agents a year." He said in 2021, that number was up 48%. He said, "We're interested in knowing how much of that 48% you affected." So he sent me a list of names that achieved it. And I sent him back and I told him, "Boss, we have influenced, inspired, mentored, talked, guided 18 people on that list." I said that we know we had some effect on it. And he said, we knew that was the case. We just didn't know how to quantify it. And so here's my thoughts, and they can reach out to me any way they see fit, but I'm not really great at social media. At my age, it's not my thing. I stay way too busy. I stay way too, tuned in. And I probably should, maybe I'll have to. But I believe that the meaning in this life is to find your gift. But the purpose of this life is to give it away. Mm-hmm. And today, we just gave it away.
Yep.
I love that. Richard, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This has been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Let's do it again. Okay.
Yeah.
We can definitely do that. I'd be honored to do that. It'd be great for all of those that are listening. Obviously, thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed the episode today with Richard, please go on, give us a 5-star review. Make sure you share this episode with your peers. As you all know, there's tons of nuggets in here that Richard shared. So, Richard, thank you again. For all of those listening, as you all know, time is the most valuable and important asset that we all have. We appreciate you spending time with us today. Go out, make it great.